Good morning, crypto traders, crypto investors. How are you all keeping? I've decided to make a special series, and this series is gonna be focused on altcoins. And mainly, I came to this idea because a good friend of mine, Sebastiao, and I made a few videos with him in the series called Let's Dive In. And he's a software engineer, and he was looking into multiple altcoins into fundamentals. So he came up with about 10 or 11 coins, and he asked me to look into them. So I decided, you know what, I'm actually gonna make a technical analysis on the video for everybody to see. And because I kind of trust him and his perspective on the altcoins and on fundamentals, but I will not be talking about fundamentals, mainly just technical analysis. So do the fundamentals on your, maybe I'll get him to talk about fundamentals later on. But first I want to make technical analysis for all these coins. So today I'm gonna talk about AirSwap, AST. And if you go to CoinMarketCap, you can see it has a small cap, relatively speaking, of 71 million. And yeah, it's traded on Binance mainly. Huobi, Liqua. I haven't heard too much about this one. Okay, but yeah, the main action is on Binance. So the charts I'm gonna 55%. So the charts I'll be looking at will be done on Binance data. So let's dive in into AST and this. Okay, yeah, as you see, I was preparing myself. You already can see a lot of charts, but I'm gonna start with a blank chart on a daily chart. So of course, the first thing I want to see, because okay, we don't have too much data, which is usually the case with all these alts, but still you can still do technical analysis. There's still some things you can extract. And of course, the first thing we look at is the Fibonacci retracement, and I go from week to week. And straight away you can see that it does follow this Fibonacci retracement, because we bounced off 618. Okay, sorry, this should have been the other way, rotated, if you know what I mean. This should be, okay, let's just reverse it. Yeah, 382 actually. Okay, and we bounced off here of 236. Not exactly to the kind of like to the point, but in this area. And we have 50 moving average here, the orange line, and that also acted as a support. And I'm not a big fan of Elliott waves. I don't use them too much, but for all those Elliott waves people who would say this is the first wave and this is the second wave, in the rules of Elliott waves, this should act as a support, which it did. I mean, it can go through in the leverage markets, it can go through a little bit like it did. So that is, I mean, the Elliott waves people will tell you that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not a specialist on that, so I wouldn't go too deep into that. But definitely I can see this area as a strong support here, because we bounced off here once before. Here, and then of course this area acted as a resistance here, and here. Yeah, it's a bit messy, but yeah, like that. And here, even before, like if you look back into, what is this first? Yeah, at the start of January. Here. Again, this is where this basically was formed. So this is definitely a really strong area to watch. And you have to excuse me, because usually I work on TradingView, but the small caps like this are not there, so I had to go to Coinigy. So yeah, here I'm at, here am I. here I am doing this technical analysis, but but yeah, so far so good. So this is the really strong support, and we saw that we are seeing these wicks coming in, which shows us as well that confirms our hypothesis that this is a support, because we see these wicks coming in, long wicks, so this is acting as a support, which is really good. So we see that. What else can we see? Okay, we look at the volume. Just a quick look, and we can just make an analysis of what was going on. We had, the first phase of kind of like an early trend here, and then the volume picked up. So the new highs on strength, and then we had a new high here on the lower volume, which was indicator that we want to retrace, and we did. And then we wanted to do a new high, but we couldn't. And again, it was on a lower volume, so then we traded down, came to this higher volume again, it really picked up, acting as a support as well. So here, so yeah, this is a really, really important zone. When you have a candle on a strong volume like this is a really, really important area to watch. So the top of this, which we already included in our analysis here. So we have that, and then the volume was declining, but the price was going sideways, which is okay, nothing special. But then we made kind of like a new swing high here, but it was on a lower volume, which again means a little bit of weakness. And again here, even lower volume. So we had to correct. Of course, now the question is, are we going lower? Are we going, is this a bounce? And of course, there's no definite question. We can just talk about probabilities, what is more likely to happen. So this is what I see so far. On MACD, you also see a bit divergence here on top. Again, it resulted in a little bit of retrace. But to really see more in depth, we have to take a closer look. So first go to, I like 3-hour chart, and then I go to 1 hour and so forth. But yeah, the next line. So we saw that these two lines are from taking the bottom of the top of that big longer time frame. But when we come closer, we're gonna draw some more Fibonacci's, and of course the really important one is this one. And I'm just gonna zoom out so that you get a perspective. So we have one Fibonacci here and one from here to here, and then we look for commonalities where both of them meet. They don't meet anywhere really precisely, but we see that we bounce to the tick on this Fibonacci. So this is another really important Fibonacci to look definitely, because of this, like straight to the tick. You can't get it any better than this. It doesn't get any better than this. And then okay, we went a little bit lower here, but again it was on the weakness, because like MACD was going out, it was divergent here, and the volume was lower. So the lower low here was done on weakness, which means if you think about supply and demand, that how would you call this, in the way that it will be really easy to understand. Well, basically just the downward pressure was going out. The selling pressure is going out because the volume is going out as the price is going lower, and the MACD is divergent as well. So that's a good sign, but still this is really, really volatile. So I would still be on the cautious side looking at this. And then we can be a little bit creative and draw a Fibonacci extension. So we will mix Fibonacci extensions with Fibonacci retracement, just to get a different perspectives and see if there's something building up there. And it's actually nothing special there to see. Okay, it bounced off 618 here, but maybe I could put, because as I said, usually I don't use this software. And if I could put more levels into this one, maybe we could see here something. You know what? Let's put something in. Let's put 382. Oh, yeah, but it's way lower. So okay, we'll just get rid of this. I mean, it does show that there's a little bit of resistance here, but nothing really strong. So yeah, looking at this, definitely it seems like it wants to bottom out, just depending on the volume going out, MACD as we told, as we were discussing. And on top of that, this is really strong, this blue area is really strong support area. So if it does turn around, this would be a really good area for it to turn around. Here naturally it had some resistance as well, because look at this, you know, this was a kind of like a zone accumulation here, so it will act as a resistance now, as we will want to go higher. So okay, that was an analysis. So let's go to conclusions. I mean, some trading ideas. Looking at this chart, assuming that the fundamentals are good, because Sebastian asked me to look into this, and he's only looking into quality projects. I definitely see a possibility of this turning around. Oh yeah, and let me tell you, this is against BTC, of course. So I see a nice trading setup if this comes back here, because this would be at a really cheap price, I would call it. I would definitely consider a buy here and then stop loss beneath it. And then I know usually people want to hear about targets and so forth, which I'm not the biggest fan of predetermined targets. I mean, it's okay to have a target, but I think you have to observe the markets. I know some traders are calling out, okay, this is a target, it's trade here. Okay, that's fine, but you know, there's so many things going on. I prefer looking at the price. But okay, let's put some targets in there. And of course, for targets, the important thing is to look at this. Okay, I have to modify this. I don't like. It's not how I'm used to do it. So like that, right? So if we put in an extension, you know, as we know, this area is really strong one. So this could be like a longer term target, depending on, of course, your kind of like your strategy. Are you a short term trader? Like, I mean, are you a trader? Are you an investor? What is your goal, right? For me, I'm not really good at holding backs for too long. I prefer going in, making some profit, going to a different one, right? So for me, I would take a first profit here at a previous kind of like swing high here at 382. I would take a first one here. I would take another one, take another profit here, and then leave the rest to run here, because this coincides as well with previous stop here. But of course, if you're really like a hodler, if you're, for all the hodlers out there, I mean, you can of course see the retest of a previous high, but this is, you know, this is true investing. It could take months, but okay, let's put that levels in. So at 2 and 2618. I don't have a 2618 there. Why is that? Okay, I'll just put it here. So yeah, you can hodl all the way up there if you are really patient. You know, that will be the next area, and you know, one of those. But as I said, like projecting that far into the future, I don't know. I'm not a big fan personally. As I said, okay, like you can project here easily, say, okay, this is my first take profit, second take profit, and you know, this would be maybe next few weeks or in a month or so, and then there's maybe a few months down the road, and then like that. All right, so that was it. That was. Is there something else I could mention? Probably I could mention this trend line here. I think there are so many things you could look at. I just wanna. It's easy to skip something, but yeah. Also, this trend line is worth mentioning that we bounced off this trend line, which acts as a support, which is great because you see it. It almost went to the. I mean, of course, it went to the tick if you connect it with this, but if you connect this wicks here, it crossed it a little bit. So it does act as a support, and it also almost creates a channel. And you could look at this in a different perspective. And I'll delete everything else because then it gets really messy. If you put a pitchfork into it, and this is not a pitchfork by the book, because by the book this should connect something, but we don't have too much data, so you can't really. Okay, you can connect it here maybe, but it does work in a sense, kind of, because this was a resistance here. So yeah, you could draw it like that, but because of the lack of data, and I think I make these pitchforks just more as a visualization, so it's easier for me to see what's going on. Because if you put it like this, you just get a better perspective of where you were bouncing, and right here, right? So you can do it like this, but this is not by the book. This is just me more for like visualization, more to get an idea. Okay, where is this heading? What is the angle? What does this want to do? So if we follow this, it definitely looks kind of bullish, of course, looking at this easily. But okay, if you go by the book, connect it like that, kind of, it's still, of course, bullish, but we have a little bit more to the downside that we can fall. But also this acted as a support. So actually this works quite nice, because you see this bouncing off here, acting as another kind of like a trend line. So this works as well. So all in all, I think it is a nice setup. It is a nice setup for a trade, or in actually for both, which is a good. We want to look at strong alts. It works good as a trade or as an investment as well, I think, because you can either hold it just to match this price or this price for a few weeks, or you can hold it as well. And also, it's not, to put daily trades and talk about daily trades, it doesn't make sense, because when you see the video it will be too late. But for trades like this and investments like this, I think it's really useful to make this TA. So let me guys, let me know what you think about the EST. Tell me, what do you think? Where do you think this is gonna go? Are we gonna see this following through new highs or not? And I would just like to say before I conclude, just be mindful that this is still really volatile. So for me, at this very point, I would wait. Ideally, I would wait for this to come here at a weak volume and buy around here, and buy at a multiple levels, not just just one big, all or nothing. Just scale into it a little bit, in a sense. So okay, let's actually look at that as well. Let's look at where you could put in some. So this looks like an ABC in a sense. So definitely around here would be one point to buy, and around here another one. Depending on, again, depends on your risk tolerance, depends on how aggressive you want to be. Here I would really just buy a little bit. I mean, maybe like 25%, like just when it's coming down here, and then I would just wait to see if I get some action, and then maybe look at the bounce, how the bounce, if the bounce was strong, then add more to the position, because I don't care too much if I miss like a little bit of run there, as long because if I have a confirmation, if I see that this wants to make a move, I prefer that losing a little bit of percentage there than just going in and it just tanks down, or you go in and even worse, it just goes sideways and you're like, okay, what now? You can't close the trade. You're just like stuck in there. So I think we're gonna see a response in the next few days. It definitely looks like it wants to retest, and if the retest is kind of like successful in a way that you get a lot of buying power in, then definitely build on the position and go from there. I know this was not as exact as many people would want, but I think in trading it's kind of like that. I look at possible scenarios and I really just wait for the ideal, and this is not ideal yet because we see downward momentum and the volatility is, it's just crazy. Basically here going up and down for like what, 10% in a matter of what, hours, or days. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Enjoyed it. So like, share, and subscribe. And good luck with your trading.